Hello, and welcome back to another gaming session with Chappers. Today, let's look at the controller. We're going to cover some of the most frustrating problems commonly encountered and also how to fix them. Then, we're going to take a look at Bungie's new button mapping system. I'm going to recommend some settings to change immediately, and then look into some more exotic options. Finally, I'll briefly touch on controller sensitivity, as this is a bit of a wild card and there's no hard and fast suggestions. So, let's kick off with the most frustrating thing about controllers, and this is the analog sticks. If you type sprint cancelling issues into Google, you can physically feel the rage from gamers all over the world. Personally, I've nearly quit games in the past because I thought the problem was with the game and not with the controller. Let's set the stage with some footage. So, you're in the Crucible and doing everything right. You can see someone is around the corner just begging for you to take their head off. You have your plan. Pull out that shotgun, sprint out and into a slide, and pat them full of lead like some sort of buckshot demon. So, that's how you imagine it in your head, and it's perfect. But in reality, something more like this happens. And instead of being a shotgun pro, you're in a teabag on your face. Now, what happened there was I got sprint cancelled just as I wanted to initiate a slide, resulting in me just crouching on the floor and bam, I'm dead. This problem can come in varying ways. Sprint cancelling can occur randomly while sprinting, requiring you to constantly press the button, making you look like some kind of jacked up kangaroo. Or it can occur while pushing the analog stick in certain directions. Have a look at this clip. For me, sprinting forward was fine. Also, turning left while sprinting was fine. But, if I try to turn right, my controller completely throws attention and just stops me dead in my tracks. So far, all of the problems we've looked at is caused by the left analog stick. But, the right analog stick, while tending to be less problematic generally, can also cause some problems. Have a look at this clip. As you can see, my turning speed has randomly decided to act like a snail, despite the stick being fully pressed to the side. As infuriating and rage-inducing as these problems can be, there are a few fixes that we can try. Option 1. Use your mouth to physically blow all around the inside of the analog stick. This is the method I use and it does work well, but I do seem to have to do it fairly regularly. Alternatively, you can use a can of compressed air if you feel you need a little more oomph. Option 2. If blowing yields no luck, the second option you have is to replace the analog sticks. You can get parts cheap enough online and there are plenty of guides out there on how to do this. The third and last resort option, if you're out of luck or you simply don't fancy taking your controller apart, is to simply buy a new controller. Now, depending on how you feel, this may or may not be worth doing, seeing as the PlayStation 5 is coming out in a month or two. If you have had any of these issues, hopefully these options will help you and you'll be back to shotgunning Guardians again like you did in the good old days. However, if you haven't experienced any of these, I still recommend you blow air in every now and again, as this can crop up any time with controller age and use. The next subject is the bumpers and triggers. Now, if you're like me, you hold the controller with your index fingers on the triggers, meaning you can't use the bumpers at the same time. Now, there are some people out there who can hold the triggers and the bumpers at the same time, but for me, this is very uncomfortable and completely against my muscle memory. To get around this, I use the Sony back button attachment, which is available for around the £30 to just $30 mark. I would highly recommend this, but it is up to you if you want to make an investment so close to the PS5 release date. This attachment will not work on the PS5 either. Now, in the next part of the video, we can get a bit creative, as we'll be looking at Bungie's much anticipated button mapping system and how we can take advantage of it. So, to access a new button mapping system, go to your settings menu and click the default box on the button mapping row to open the menu. From here, you can set a controller layout. We'll be selecting custom. Here you can remap any action you like. Now we can do a lot of things here, but the first thing I recommend doing is changing your class abilities to single press. This makes them ever so slightly quicker to activate, which is invaluable in the Crucible, particularly for the Hunter's dodge. And if you are a hunter, you could consider taking things further and setting your dodge ability to R3. This makes dodging more accessible without having to take your thumb off the analog stick. It depends whether you feel comfortable or not, give it a try. For me personally, I like to map crouch to R3. This makes sliding super easy while still maintaining control over your aim. Some people like to add jump to one of the bumpers for similar reasons. It's really down to you to explore and see what works for you. You can reset the changes anytime, so don't be shy or put off from playing around with this system. Now, let's look at some more exotic options for button remapping. How about a one-touch Icarus dash for you warlocks out there? We can do this by changing Icarus dash to X long press, essentially giving the dodging capability of the hunter. Will this be useful in all situations? Probably not, but if it fits your playstyle, give it a try. How about mapping sprint and slide to the same button? You can actually do this to gain a one-touch slide button, which I find amazing for all activities. To do this, change your crouch to the same button as sprint, but set it to long press. Now simply hold in sprint while moving to insta slide and rain destruction. If you want to be really creative, you can actually take this one step further. How about mapping change to shotgun on that same button? With this setup, by pressing one button, you can insta slide and pull out your shotgun without taking your thumbs off the analog stick. Very useful in clutch moments. Better yet, if you do have the back button attachment, you can map it onto one of these. Do this and you'll be sliding around the Crucible, shotgunning every guardian in sight. Now, another great option if you do have the back button attachment is to map your second crouch option to one of the back paddles. This makes it easier to crouch during a gunfight to avoid shots and get the win. This does take some getting used to, but it's 10 times easier to crouch while dodging with a remapping than it was previously. For me personally, I have toggle sprint, long press toggle crouch, and long press change to shotgun on my right paddle, and hold crouch on my left paddle. This means that I can slide in and pull out my shotgun, but also if I don't want to pull out my shotgun I can use that left paddle to just do a normal slide. But do play around with this and see what works for you. Let me know in the comments if you find anything unique or fun to try out. Lastly, we will touch on sensitivity. This is a bit of a wild card as it's heavily dependent on you, your reaction time and your playstyle. As a general rule of thumb, the closer you intend to play to your enemy, the higher the sensitivity you want. Aim assist will help you stick to your targets when in a suitable range. If you intend to fight from a distance, then a lower sensitivity may be beneficial. To find what works for you, try a few settings out, but do stick to each one for a few days. Personally, I play on an 8 sensitivity. If you do want the benefits of a higher sensitivity, but still able to aim for those long range engagements, you can consider getting the joystick cap add-ons. These are fairly cheap and easy to install. If you fancy trying them out, they come in a range of different sizes and shapes, and have varying numbers of grip options too. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video or found it beneficial in any way, please like and subscribe. I'm a new channel and every like, subscribe and comment goes a long way in getting YouTube to notice my videos.